Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport, where travelers are one stop away from world destinations. Connections on Delta Airlines to Atlanta are available daily. Close, convenient, CIRA. More at CIRA.com.
Illinois' Democratic senators support a bill that declares contraception as a right. That's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Thursday, June 6th. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with reproductive rights taking center stage in the U.S. Senate with a Democrat-backed vote to declare contraception a federal right. WGLT's Charlie Schlenker has more.
Republicans have said the availability of contraception is not at stake. U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois points to Oklahoma legislation that could outlaw IUDs and the Virginia governor's veto of a bill protecting contraception as proof otherwise.
Well, they also said we were overreacting when we said Republicans were coming for Roe. They said we were overreacting when we said IVF and the right to build our families and on our own terms would be next after the Dobbs decision. But this is not an overreaction. This has been Republicans' plan all along.
Duckworth says Plan B emergency contraception is also under threat in several states. Democrats, including U.S. Senator Dick Durbin, say GOP efforts are making it harder for people in marginalized communities to get health care.
MAGA Republicans insist they're for freedom. What about the freedom to decide the future of your family and whether or not you're going to have a planned pregnancy? That is so fundamental and so basic.
Sponsors of the measure noted during a Capitol Hill news conference that Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas has invited a challenge to a key precedent that affects the issue. Republicans call the measure a shameless political ploy. Senate President Chuck Schumer disagrees.
This is not a show vote. This is a show us who you are vote.
The proposal also establishes a right for doctors to discuss and provide contraception without fear of discipline or jail. Republicans say the proposal is overly broad and doesn't safeguard religious objections to contraception by health providers. Most Americans say they want to have contraception available. For The Leadoff, I'm Charlie Schlenker.
The measure was expected to fail because it needed 60 votes to advance. Here are some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. Governor J.B. Pritzker has signed a new state budget that he says is balanced. The new spending plan provides more for education and early childhood programs and eliminates the state's tax on groceries. Illinois State University may get some help paying for the top item on its capital wish list. ISU wants to build a $60 million STEM science lab building, and Congressman Eric Sorensen says he's asked for $15 million for that project. And a public hearing is set for June 13th related to the planned closure of the Logan Women's Prison in Lincoln. Those looking to speak must notify the Illinois Commission on Government Forecasting and Accountability in advance. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. The Illinois Symphony has a new maestro. Taichi Fukumura beat out 3 finalists vying for the job last season, following Ken Lamb's departure in 2022. Executive Director Trevor Orthman says that Illinois Symphony's musicians, board members, the search committee, and audiences universally agreed on Fukumura. Now, he's got just a few months to tee up next season. But Fukumura tells WGLT's Lauren Warnicki he has a little bit of a head start.
Last year, during those 2 visits, Trevor and I got to chat quite a bit about, how things are going, how the orchestra is sounding, and also I got to ask him a lot of questions about the history. And it's one thing to read everything in a spreadsheet and be aware, but also it's really nice to hear what the experiences have been and what the journey has been. So I'm not starting from scratch or from nowhere, but with the awareness of what the orchestra has been doing and where we're headed. In terms of the actual program for this upcoming season, a lot of it is already in the works, some of it more finalized than others. We can't quite disclose yet because our official announcement of the season programming will be later in the summer. Mm-hmm. I wish I can talk about it, though, because there's some really special things coming up.
Things that I think stood out to me in what you laid out for the orchestra was, one, geographic proximity to major cities, so potentially tapping into those communities.
Sorry if I'm interrupting.
No, you take it. I'll get to the other part later.
That's one of our top priorities right now. Ken Lam and Trevor and the team have done remarkable work in terms of progressing this orchestra and building upwards. And some of that work is a continuation that what we're about to do, but also some of it actually, the pandemic has taken a little bit of a hit, right? We've had some members who had to move on to do other things or moved to a different location. And so there's an unusual number of open positions in key places in the orchestra. That's actually a really important opportunity to tap into exactly what you just said, which is the fact that Illinois Symphony is located in a very, very good place to be able to attract and gather really high quality musicians to make something special happen here in our community.
Now that we're not speaking in the abstract, what do you see as your priorities day one?
By the way, thank you for noticing and pointing out what you did, because what really plays in is concrete steps. You can have these visions, you can know where you want things to go. And we've had a lot of discussions about where we want the orchestra to go in 5 or 10 years. But it's those structural or concrete steps that get us there. Right away, already we're strategizing our auditions. So we're not saying, okay, you know what, let's just audition every single thing that's open and do it all at once. Instead, we're saying, what are the most urgent positions that's going to affect the quality and the performance of the orchestra the most?
I suspect Principal Bassoon is one of them.
That's one of them,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of titled positions that are open, and the bassoon you just mentioned is, of course, one of them. Mm-hmm. The other thing actually is not just filling those positions, but making sure we build a very reliable and strong sublist system. Every orchestra relies on quality sublist and incredible dedicated people who jump in sometimes on a moment's notice if somebody gets sick, or if dates have conflicts and we need to call extra musicians. Those people are actually, just as important as, of course, the members are. Part of our focus is, okay, let's fill these key titled position. And the other focus is, all right, we need to look at every sublist of every section and make sure that we are attracting the right people and we are well organized so that every performance we can present at the top quality that we can.
That's new Illinois Symphony maestro Taichi Fukumura, speaking with WGLT's Lauren Warnicki. You can hear more from him tonight at 5 o'clock on WGLT's Sound Ideas. And before we let you go, Bloomington Public Library's True Colors Book Club kicks off Pride Month with a discussion about the Pink Line. That is tonight at 6 at the Unitarian Universalist Church. That's it for today. I'm Ryan Denham. You can subscribe to The Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.